Peace, family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I want to do is I want to talk to my chosen ones about how they want to be relevant in your life extremely bad. They really want to be relevant in your life. And it's not always on the most healthiest perspective, you know what I mean? Especially when they know that your frequency is a lot higher than average. You know, you're a lot more knowledgeable. You've gained a lot more wisdom through your experiences in life. They want to work extremely hard to be relevant in your life. And they working on doing that by any means necessary. Any means necessary, you know. Whether they faking it as far as how they care about you, or whether they just showing you, you know, all these weird witchy vibes and giving you a lot of excuses and putting a lot of blankets over a lot of different things. It's like it becomes extremely obvious when you've been walking a certain way of life for a while that certain people want to be relevant in your life. And when I had to process about all the beings that I've dealt with and engaged with that was just doing, some come to the door going over top to infinity and beyond, and then some come to the door tiptoeing. But the thing is, with all this, you know, people trying to read your vibes and see where you at, and are you real? Are you really solid? Are you really a stand-up being? Are you really connected with Source? A lot of these beings can feel it. A lot of them can feel it. A lot of them already know it. This is how they do their little sneaky thing that they do where they get close to us and they figure out how we do what we do. You ever notice like how much life that you give them unwillingly and unknowingly? You may be working on one thing and then here they go 2-3 days later, you talking about your ideas, but now you done gave them life unknowingly, and now they're cutting you off to express their ideas and things that they have in mind in nature, which it all transpired from you, you know, because a lot of these beings, if they were going to do what they was saying they were going to do, they would have took these steps a long time ago before you showed up in their life, you know, or you was present at the door, or you was around the block or the corner from them. Most of them don't. They don't have belief and faith the same way we do, you know. And a lot of them try to use us as a shortcut, you know. Oh, I don't really want to get connected with the Source. I just want to keep talking in open perspective, and you know, this sign meets that sign, and you know, this matches that over there, or you know, I got a reading over here and it says this, or my Libra sign is rising and falling in the 7th, 20th house, and the trees collapsed and shit. I'm like, man, that's too much confusion energy to put out there in a society where we don't even have a very good starting point. Naturally, spiritually, we have an excellent starting point, the Source. But as far as what's leading and what's being applied out here in real lifetime, all that far out talk is too far out. It's too far out. It's way too far out. If I'm trying to win a basketball game, right? How is me talking about Dr. Seuss and how he came about to writing the books he did, how is that helping me win the basketball game? How? It's good knowledge and information, right? Oh, if you want to figure out how to write a book, cool. You know, if you want to figure out how to put pictures and stories and words together, cool. But on the basketball court, that doesn't make much sense. None of that information is useful in the basketball field, you know, like in the realm of basketball. None of it. It's no different than where we at right now in today's society. We got a lot of people saying that they spiritually connected, right? but they ain't using the source. They not connecting with source. They're using this far out a lot of them aren't even saying the word God or source. A lot of them is just saying, I received this information, I received this light. And it's like, you know how many entities is out here working in the spiritual realm? Do you actually know how many entities is working in the spiritual realm? So you're not always getting your information from the source. And a lot of these people, like with the day and age we're in right now, they are trying to snuggle up beside us as if they're connected or want to be connected with the source. But when I process their actions and the way they're moving, it's not reading connection to source. I opened this Dr. Seuss book and I was expecting green eggs and ham. Instead, they talking about the sun, you know, and the water. That wasn't, this title in the book was misleading. That's how you have to carry it with a lot of these people who are trying to make themselves relevant and important in your life, when in all actuality, your relevancy and your importance come from the connection with source. How much you doing to raise the vibration around the proximity that you're in. You know, we affect our environment the same way our environment affects us. People are like, your environment does this to you, your environment does that to you. You know what? My energy is strong, it's powerful, it's potent. So the same way that environment affects me, I affect the environment. I affect the environment. So if I didn't like those vibrations over there, I could change my vibration. So always pointing the finger at the outside environments is cool and all, but once you start mastering yourself, you know, and understanding your energy and emotion, understanding the connection with source and everything that transpires that goes hand in hand with it, man, you're gonna just be walking around turning shit into gold. You're gonna be like, this desk, gold. Whiteboard, gold. You're just gonna be walking around touching stuff. You're gonna be extremely precise with it. These things are in movies because it is beings out here who are that connected that is actually what's happening. But because you was brainwashed to these movies, a lot of this stuff seems far out to you until you process your experiences in life. So when you out here moving around and you raising your vibration and frequency, you gonna have a bunch of people trying to snuggle up next to you. They gonna try to use the same blanket as you. They gonna try to get in the same jacket with you. They gonna like, let me get that sleeve. You can get that sleeve. Let this pass. They're gonna be trying to snuggle up to you, you know? They're gonna figure out every way that they can get into your pocket, share your jacket, your warmth, your heat. You know, it ain't even wintertime and they still trying to get as close as they possibly can get to your vibration, you know? And it's not always the best intentions, you know? A lot of things that's been transpiring and how they've been working these weird spells in the spiritual realm, as far as for everybody transitioning during this day and age, they're using a lot of I. Instead of replacing that I statement with source, you know? I, me. It's not enough we. You know what I mean? And I was speaking with somebody the other day and they was like, yeah, damn, I do realize I say I a lot. And then I start telling them like, yeah, well, you can always substitute it. You know, I like to say we, us, my team, you know, the source, the creator. You know, I use different things to show that I am not above the source or the creator, you know, God, Allah, whatever word you use for where you are at in your space and time. You know what I mean? But I always put emphasis on that to show like, I'm an extremely grateful and humble being, you know, And I understand the powers that I do have, my abilities, but I also understand like a lot of it comes from my connection with Source. A lot of it, you know. So just be mindful of these things about how people will try to make themselves relevant in your life. Be mindful of how they're coming in with their help, because all help isn't good help, you know. Some of it can lead you into a really bad space. You thought somebody was cooking you a really helpful meal and they put poison in there, you know. So you just gotta be really mindful of these things, you know. Really read the spirit, the energy, really be tapped in, you know. Really use your experience as your fruit to kind of help you process how you're handling this engagement with this new being. And don't be afraid to put labels and people in categories. It's what the fuck we do. I'm not gonna look at this tree like it's water. I'm not gonna judge a fish if it can climb a tree. Like, we just have to use a lot of this common knowledge and common sense that we do have access to, you know? And not push it off to the back burner, because then they're gonna have you in a space to where you feel like, you know, you just are extremely slow, and it's gonna make your knowledge feel as though somebody just threw your knowledge book in the river. And now all the words are all smudged from it being wet. Now it's making it harder for you to read. In all actuality, we don't need these books or any of this stuff. We're connected with Source from within. I don't care what country you in, your Source speaks the same language you speak. If I was in Asia and I grew up in Asia, my Source would be speaking to me in that same language I learned over there. But I'm over here in the States. So my Source speaks to me in the same weird, witchy communication language that we have. The Source is just so on point that the words that is used to communicate and relay messages, they just always spot on. They just always busting, you know. They just always uplifting. They just always gonna hit your spirit, and you know what team it's coming from when it hits. You know what I mean? We just gotta be mindful of a lot of these things that's happening out here, you know. I'm one of them people that I like to have everybody around me airtight, sharp, you know. My daughter isn't always with me, but I gotta keep her spiritually tapped in up here, because I cannot protect her physically all the time. So I make sure I drop as much knowledge on her, and then I am protecting her in the spiritual realm. But physically, I'm not there. I had to learn how to let my daughter go. You know what I mean? That was one of the hardest things I had to process. You know, I love her with everything in me, and I would go to the moon and back. I'd jump off a cliff right now for her. But I had to learn how to let her go, you know? I'm not always going to be here either at the same time. You know, we all got an expiration date. So me, I'm just one of them people, I prepare myself. I just been doing everything I possibly can to sharpen my sword as much as possible. You know what I mean? But I ain't want to run it up too long, you know? Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.